Hey everybody, it's Miss Mercado again with another Storybook STEAM activity. Today we're going to read one of my favorite books, Iggy Peck Architect by Andrea Beatty. We're going to talk about what is an architect? What do they do? I'm also going to give you a challenge where you're going to have to think like an architect. So let's get started. So what is architecture? You might have heard that word before and you don't know what it means. It means the science and art of designing buildings and structures. Architecture is very much like art. The person who makes the building or structure wants it to be beautiful. But unlike art, the architecture has a purpose. So the person that designs architecture is called the architect. Unlike an artist who might make things just for beauty, for example, a painting in your home that's pleasing to look at, an architect designs something with a purpose, a house. But instead of just a normal house, an architect wants to design that house to be pleasing and beautiful to the eye. So just like with a structure, for example, the Golden Gate Bridge, the architect didn't want cars to just pass over a boring bridge. He wanted it to look beautiful. Architects usually focus on a certain style that they like to put into their buildings and structures. Eventually, they might become known for the style of art that they're using. Architects and engineers kind of sound similar, but the truth is they actually work together. An architect makes more of the plans and blueprints that go along with building a structure, while the engineer executes that and decides what materials to use and how they're going to actually get the plan off the ground. So they work together a lot. Now, Iggy Peck, the architect, definitely had a style that he was used to. Let's read to find out what his style was. I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with things you would find around your house. So here we go, Iggy Peck Architect. Young Iggy Peck is an architect, and he has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious, Ignatius," his mother exclaimed, "that's the coolest thing I've ever seen." But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks." But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn, using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples and temples from modeling clay. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher, Miss Greer, on the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. That might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that, above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk, but he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. "You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe?" "No, ma'am," Iggy said. He lowered his head and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now, 2nd grade was a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream, but they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed and Miss Greer started to scream. "We're trapped here, oh my! Alas, kids, say goodbye!" Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound, luckily fainted, not dead. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one young bright man was off hatching a plan which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. What do you think they're gonna do? And when she came to, Miss Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces, and on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots, and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge, dangling from shoestring suspension. It all became clear to Miss Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. Now every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in 2nd grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker in a t-shirt and sneakers talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course he's the guy who builds towers from pie, that brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. So in this book, Iggy uses all kinds of different materials to build things. He uses shoestrings for a bridge, pancakes to build an arch. So that leads me to your challenge. I challenge you to build something out of anything. You can use Legos, you can use recycled materials, anything just hanging around. What are you going to build?